Welcome back everyone. In this video lecture, we are going to be discussing variable assignments. So firstly, we will know what is variable assignments. Variables are used to store values, but the best thing about Python is that unlike other programming languages, unlike other programming languages, Python has no command for declaring a variable. A variable is created as soon as we assign a value to it. We saw in our last video that how to work with numbers. But what do these numbers represent? We had integers and floating point numbers, but we don't actually have a variable name assigned to them. So it would be nice to assign these data types a variable name to easily reference them later on in our code. For example, x equals to 5 here. For example, x equals to 5. Here x is the type of integer. X is the type of integer. So once we assign the value, the variable is automatically created. We don't need to declaring a variable like other programming languages. This x, this x is work like a container. This x is work like a container, and we store the 5 in this container, which is the integer type. And we can see other examples like y is the type of strings because this is in double quotes. And here y is what? Y is str type, string type. And suppose y is a container, and in this container we store the string. We store the Trisha name, which is in the form of a string because this is in double quotes. And third example, z is equals to 4.33, and here is z is what? Float type. And z is working like what? Z is working like a container, and we store 4.33 in this container, which is the type of, what type is this? This is the float type. Okay. Now there are a couple of rules for choosing a variable name in Python. A variable name cannot be anything as we want. There are some rules which has to be taken care while declaring a variable. So like a variable name must start with a letter or the underscore character. Here we can see the examples like underscore Trisha. This is correct variable name. And here Trisha underscore 9. This is also variable name. This is correct variable name. The most important condition is what? The most important condition is that a variable name must start with a letter. So here this Trisha underscore 9 and this T is start with from letter, T letter. And next is underscore character. So we can start our variable name from underscore character. So here this is the underscore character, underscore Trisha. So these both are the examples of the variable name. We can keep this. Now next is a variable name cannot start with a number. So this is the important condition here. A variable name cannot start with a number because here these 9 Trisha is the wrong variable name. If you type this variable name, Python is uh, Python is will quickly complain and you have an error. Okay. Now here 7 lucky. This is also the wrong variable name. And if you type this variable name in any ID on any ID, then Python will quickly complain and you have an error. Now next here Trisha. This is correct because this is a start from the letter Trisha and underscore 9. This is the correct variable name. Remember, a variable name cannot start with the number. This is the important condition. Okay. Next, a variable name can only contain alphanumeric characters and underscore. So here alphanumeric means alphabeticals like A to Z, and numeric is what? It's 0 to 9. So here alpha is alphabetical numbers and numeric is numerical values. And underscore, a variable name can only contain alphanumeric characters and underscore. So here Trisha 98. So this is the type of variable name like Trisha 98, and this variable name is contain what? This variable name contain the alphabetical like Trisha and numeric 9 and 8. So this is the correct variable name. Now Trisha underscore 98, this is also because a variable name can contain underscore variables, underscore characters. And here underscore Trisha underscore, this is also the correct variable name. Okay. Next, our variable names are case sensitive. Age, age and age are three different variables. These are not the same variable name. These all are three different variable names because variable names are case sensitive, and case sensitive are what? Case sensitive like this. AGE, this is different, age and age, this is different. The pronunciation is same, but these are different variable names. Okay, because variable names are case sensitive. Next is there can't be a space among variable name. Yeah, here Trisha and Trisha. If you want to separate two words, like you can say Trisha Rajput or Arika Jan. Okay, and if you want to separate these two words, so you can't separate like this. And if you type this variable name Trisha like this, and if you give the space in between them name, so Python will quickly complain and you had have an error. So you need to be aware about that. So Trisha space, this is wrong variable name. Okay, if you want to separate two words, then you can separate by using this underscore character. Okay, and if you write like Erica Jane, okay, if you want to write these type of variable name, so you can separate them by using underscore character. So Erica underscore Jane, you can write this variable name. Okay, so this is the correct variable name. This is also correct, but this is not wrong variable name because there can't be a space among variable name. Next, can't use any of these symbols. Yeah, if you actually forget this list of symbols, like this is what this is. If you actually forget this list of symbols, if you were to type one of these symbols out in a variable name, Python will quickly complain and you had have an error. So you don't need to be worried about memorizing all these. You had get the error as you are typing along. Next, it considered best practice PEP 8 that names are lowercase. Now, there are situations when you become a more advanced programmer where you are going to want to have kind of global variable names in all caps that are used throughout your code. So, but right now in general, we want to keep all our names what? Lowercase. We want to keep all our names are lowercase. Okay. Next, avoid using words that have a special meaning in Python. Uh, we will also want to avoid words. We will also want to avoid words, and these are built-in keywords like list, str for strings. Hmm. You may be wondering, well, how the heck am I supposed to know? What are the special built-in keywords? Luckily, any development environments that's designed to work with Python will have syntax highlighting. Will have syntax highlighting that will alert you that you are using a built-in keywords by highlighting it a different color. And we will see an example of that in just a little bit. Okay, so just be aware of this. Okay, you can't use that. Now, before we actually jump to the Jupyter notebook, I want to mention that Python uses dynamic typing. What? Python uses dynamic typing. This means you can reassign variables to different data types. Reassign variables to different data types. This makes Python very flexible in assigning data types. This is different than other languages that are statically typed. So let me show you an example of what I mean by this. Suppose here I have assigned my underscore balloons equals to 2. Then later on in my code, I went ahead and reassigned the same variable, my underscore balloons, to a different data type, that is list, that is Sammy and Frankie. This is the different data type and in the form of list, that is Sammy and Frankie. Okay, that's totally okay in Python. That's totally okay in Python. But in other languages, but in other languages, that would produce an error. And that's because these other languages are statically typed. And the other languages such as C++, you can take the example of C++, like you have to say int for integer, my underscore balloon, uh, then is equal to whatever integer value you want, such as 2, such as 2. And then later on in your code, you would not be able to assign it to a different data type. You would not be able to say my underscore balloon equals to Sammy and Frankie. This results in error. My underscore balloon equals to, because that's no longer an integer, and this would be in a results in a error. So that's because these are the examples of these all are the statically typed. Okay. Now next is pros of dynamic typing. There are some pros and cons to dynamic typing. So the pros of dynamic typing is what? Very easy to work with, faster development time. So what I mean by this, like the process that the actual data types saves you a lot of time and make it really easy to quickly produce Python code. And it also makes your code very readable because you are not just reading that variable name. Now, this is a kind of double-edged sword here, because the cons is that this may result in bugs for unexpected data types, for unexpected data type, because you are not having the restrictions of data types, especially when you are dealing with user input. You may have unexpected data types that can cause problems later on in your operations. So you should be aware of the data types as you are coding. And you can use the special type functions, special type function, uh, that's built into Python to quickly check the type of any variable. And I will show you how to use that in just a little bit. So, all right. So let's explore all these concepts by jumping to a Jupyter notebook. So let's jump to the Jupyter notebook. Okay, now that we have seen how to use numbers in Python as a calculator, let's see how we can assign names and create variables. We are first going to create a very simple variable called a. Set it equal to 5. Set it equal to 5. Okay. Now I have run that anywhere in my code. When I call a, when I call a here, so it's now assigned the variable 5. And I can reassign it simply by saying a is equal to 10. Something else like 10. And now if I check a, it has 10 there. Like a, if I check this, it has 10 there. I can also add objects together. Like I could say a plus a, and that's going to result in 20 because 10 plus 10 is equal to 20. Simple. So if I run this, it's become 20. Python also allows you to do reassignments with a reference to the same objects. Let me show you what I mean by that. Like if when I call A, it's which is still 10, which is still equal to 10. I could reassign it to be say something like A is equal to, sorry, it's equals to A plus A, which is equal to A plus A. So what that is saying is, take the current value of A, which is 10, and reassign it to A plus A. So that's 10 plus 10. So after I run this, now if I run this and if I call A here, if I call A, now it's become 20. It's become 20. If I run this cell second time, it's become 40. It's become 40. Keep in mind, I want to run this cell a second time. So notice the inner operator here, and what's become, it's 40. Here it's going to go from 20 to 40. And if I run A again, so notice here, it's become 80. If I run this again, it's become 168 times. So what is going here? If I run A again, it's 40, then 80, and so on. You can keep doing this and again, and you will keep saying it essentially double each time. So this becomes double each time. Okay. So this is all about the variable assignments. Now, if you want to know which data type is this, suppose I want to find the type of the A, which data type is this, we can easily known by type function. Type function is a built-in function in Python. So if you want to know which data type is this, like we set the variable A equals to 5, and I just want to know that which data type is this, A. So I can use here type function, type, and then I will type A, pass the value A, and shift plus enter. So this is this is int type. And if I set the variable A, you can take any variable like x equals to 30.2. And if I want to know which data type is this, which data type is x is this, so I can easily find this. Now I can use here type function. So type x, and I can easily find this. This is the float type. So this is okay. So we have learned some basic numbers in Python. We have learned how to do arithmetic, and we have wrapped it up by learning how to do variables assignments in Python. Up next, we are going to learn about strings. See you at the next lecture. Thank you.